A lot of Nigerians thought after the international bodies and a lot of Nigerians protested against this regime, military regime of President Muhammadu Buhari, although he calls himself a repentant Democrat. Well, he has some certain goons around him that comes out once in a while to utter words that if they should have said and done this act in a country where the rule of law is upheld, they would have been asked to drop that position that they are in and get the hell out. Malami breaks silence, says federal government is right to detain Omoyele Sowore despite court orders. Is the Minister of Justice, Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami. And there are some talks out there that this Abubakar Malami was able to become Attorney General of Nigeria, even though somehow he could not pass his law degree. I'm just talking about speculations and what people are saying. They said he had to pass the law degree through quota system. You know, the quota system gives the people from the northern part of Nigeria, it's a very funny thing, gives them some form of soft landing. The cutoff mark to go to school in the north is not the same like that of the south, and a lot of things are given to them. I wouldn't know if we are going to call these things concessions that are given to them. Some say they need an affirmative action in the northern part of Nigeria when it even comes to the aspect of education, where they are given certain freedom to do just whatever they like. Well, it's the same quota system that got Buhari without certificate to become president of Nigeria. When you look at all of these things, why can't we divide? We should divide. We are not going to continue. It's more or less like husband and wife relationship. And the kind of husband and wife relationship is more or less a parasitic relationship. And that is what brought about the marriage of the North and that of the South, because the northern part of Nigeria wasn't viable to the British wicked monarchy. So they needed to bring in the South with all that the South has. And they brought down a bride. And who is this bride? Who is this wife? Who is this woman? The South of Nigeria is the woman that labors to give out the children, while there is this drunkard man that doesn't do nothing. And that is the northern part of Nigeria. They just sit and want to command and want to control. That evil marriage should be broken apart. So somehow this Malami, through quota system, was able to get himself a law degree, and somehow he was able to connect to get himself the senior advocate of Nigeria, SAN. And with a lot of connections with his own people, he was able to become what he is right now in Nigeria. Abubakar Malami, on Thursday, backed the federal government for detaining the convener of Revolution Now protest, Omoyele Sowore, and former National Security Advisor to the former President, Goodluck Ebele Jonathan Sambo Dasuki, despite various court orders to release them. Malami made this known at a program entitled Good Morning Nigeria, heard by the national television, NTA, which a lot of media houses monitored. Speaking at the program, Malami said that federal government did not default, noting that government still has a right to detain Sowore and Dasuki until an appeal against the orders is determined by the Supreme Court. His words, he said, perhaps I need to clear the air on how the rule of law operates within the context of the Nigerian Constitution. That is what he said. Within the context of the Nigerian Constitution, or is it within the context of Buhari's regime? We have multiple and a plethora of judicial decisions that establishes a fact that when you are challenging a court order through a judicial process, the idea of disobedience to that court order does not arise. I'll take that again. That is what he said, word for word. He said, we have multiple and plethora of judicial decisions that establishes a fact that when you are challenging a court order through a judicial process, the idea of disobedience to that court order does not arise. Simply put, if the court says this person should be out on bail, then he said if there is probably the government, most of the time, regimes such as this challenging the decision of the court to release that person on bail, they claim that the idea of disobedience to that court order will not arise, and it's not even something that any Nigerian should think about. The misapprehension that set into the system and deliberately put in the public space is the fact that once there is a court order, you must unconditionally comply. You can only be adjudged being a it can only be adjudged being in disobedience of a court order when you don't take advantage of the constitutional powers, rights accorded to you by appealing against the orders and perhaps seeking for a stay of execution of the order, or perhaps you don't take any steps seeking variation of the court order. So, simply put, if the court say put this person and take this person out of your detention, keep him out. That is the court order. At that time, the court order has to be obeyed until you go to appeal. And if there is a higher court, that the Supreme Court says, okay, from what I have looked into, and that is if they don't look for some criminal judges, this person, according to the new facts that have been brought and that we have investigated and seen into, this person is going to become much of a menace to the society. So this person has to be kept pending for certain reasons. That is a different thing. But in this case, these people are just trying to manipulate the law, just like how Keyamo goes all around trying to twist and manipulate what he knows. What he knows. Anyway, so he say in 914 he said that disobedience to court order will not arise. Recall that the Federal High Court in Abuja has severally asked the Department of the State Service, DSS, they are known as SSS, but they became Department of State Service, to release the publisher of Sowore reporters, but the service refused. The service noted the following as its reasons. It has therefore become unarguable and raised a moral question as to who, between Sowore and the service, dislikes or disobeys the courts. In this regard, public attention may be drawn to the 25th July 2019 statement of Sowore that I am talking of protest, I am embarking on revolution. Don't tell me about legal implications or what a judge will say. I do not care. On December 5th, when Sowore was released, he had, at the Transcorp Hilton Hotel Abuja, addressed a group of persons who he reassured of his cause to create anarchy in the country. And that is why they claimed that they reabducted or kidnapped him in the court. Simply put, the court is of no use to them. They are talking of high court, then they think, oh, it has to be taken to the Supreme Court. But then, why is it that the court ordered him to be released, but an agency that is not even the rule of, that is not the court, will now determine what is right and what is not right? I thought the court does that. When they say release, you release, and afterwards, if you want to take your appeal to the court, then that's a different case. But when it is in their own favor, they respect the court orders. So it's a shame. So he said, it may be recalled that the service had on 3rd December 2019 raised the alarm about a plot to destabilize the country. It is quite remarkable that the plot has already started playing out. To ensure this objective is further achieved, some persons and groups are scurrying to seize the opportunity of the misleading court incident and the wrong narrative against the DSS to organize an insurrection in the country. And that's talking about the 14 days ultimatum. They have continued to falsely curry and mobilize international sentiments and attention through clear misinterpretations of the facts for their selfish ends. For emphasis, it should be noted that Sowore is facing trial not as an activist, journalist, or a politician, but for his resort to call for violence, forceful takeover of government, and suspected transnational illegal activities. It is most unfortunate that Sowore, shortly after being released from custody based on court order, resorted to acts inimical to security. To this effect, only Sowore has been rearrested, as his co-defendant Olawale Bakare was not picked up, even when Falana had promised to deliver him to the court, to the service that is not presently interested in him. Though sections of the populace have been fed with spurious narratives about this development, Nigerians and the international community should not be gullible or even vulnerable to the machinations of groups of desirous people that are desirous of misleading them. The service is committed to the discharge of its mandate of detecting and preventing threats against the internal security of Nigeria. It supports democracy in the country and will do all that is legal to protect it. It will also ensure that efforts of anti-democratic forces are frustrated. So funny. So this is their own interpretation of what Omoyele Sowore called for. They claim that he called for a protest to destabilize Buhari. They claim that he's involved in transnational operations, and that has to do with just $50,000 that they claimed that Sowore is trying to use to unseat their government. First, the lie that he went to Dubai to get money to unseat the government, then they couldn't stand with that. Now, they are probing and asking him questions as regards terrorism with Boko Haram link with IPOB and all of that. What a shame. Shame, shame, shame. They have nowhere to hide. What I want you guys to remember, because these too shall pass, but before then, let us speak and keep speaking. Do not forget Malami. Do not forget the spokesperson for this administration, because soon they will be a governor. Soon they want to become this and that, and you will be the one fighting to make sure that they're there, because you want to play some kind of politics that is sectional. Oh, it's from my own place, it's my own person, and all of those things. So mind all of these people. They've spoken. Keep their words. They have no integrity. So guys, that's just what it is for now. If you're not a member of this channel, let us grow it together by you simply tapping on the subscription button and the red notification icon bell below. It will alert you whenever our videos are uploaded. Thanks for stopping by.